This is the Sattler File.
Welcome back. Ice is, well, a scourge of the community at the moment. It's talked about far and wide and the consequences of what happens. No family, doesn't matter where they're from, their background, their demographic, their income levels or anything else, is immune from the possible threat. This week, Tasmanian Senator Jackie Lambie has come out and said that his son's an ice addict. The Northern Territory Police Commissioner has a similar situation with his own son. And of course, in WA, Carlo Callaghan, the police commissioner, has a fairly high-profile story with his son with drug issues over the years as well. Parents are obviously talked about the scourge of ice, but what about happens when a parent actually becomes an ice addict? Andrea Simmons from Queensland took up the habit at the age of 40, and she joins me on the phone. How are you, Andrea?
I'm good, thanks, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Give us a bit of background to your story.
Oh, well, where do I start? I was in a marriage breakdown after being married for 22 years, raised two children, two young ladies who had moved out of home. My marriage was falling apart. You know, it was quite a bad point in my life there, and I guess I separated, and I met up with somebody that I, fell head over heels in love with, and, I basically kept meeting up with this person. They lived in Melbourne, and I moved down there, and just, I guess to find that, come the first weekend, I was under a lot of stress at the time with the marriage breakdown and the family issues, and, he said, he had some of this that'll, just take the edge off things, you relax. I go, I'm sorry, I don't do drugs, but he said, look, it's no big deal, you just smoke it. It's not like, if it starts to affect you, you can just stop. So, I kind of thought, okay, it can't be that bad. I'm old enough and big enough and wise enough. I've raised two kids. I think I can just, relax for a bit and let my hair down. I've never touched drugs in my life. And I thought, it can't be that bad. He looks okay, So I picked it up, and I guess that's where it started. It all, started spiraling downhill from there, and it's one hit, and you just want it again and again, and before you know it, you just can't survive without it.
Can you recall when you first took it, what sort of impact it had on you?
Physical impact?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it makes you really alert and awake, and you have, you feel a lot of energy, and nothing, you can't focus on anything, so nothing else is existent except what you're doing there and then, and, that's, I guess that initial hit is what an addict keeps chasing, and they never get it again, because that initial hit is because your brain's, trying to rebalance, and you just can never get it again, so they keep chasing that and increasing their intake and adding other drugs to the mixture, and that kills you. Yeah.
Did you increase the regularity and the dosage that you were taking?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it started off, every 3 or 4 days, and obviously he'd already been doing it for a while, and after a while, you just wanted it every day. You just couldn't, you just wanted it. It was a craving that you just couldn't operate, and the aggravation and the anxiety that kicked in, the depression and everything. You just needed it to get back to that place where it was that peaceful feeling.
Were you aware at the time when you started sort of taking it with that regularity? Were you still actually, if you like, conscious enough in reality to understand that you were becoming or had become addicted?
No. What happens, Tom, is that ice actually hijacks your brain, and you don't think logically. And this is what people don't understand out there. They say, why can't they just get off it? They see they've got a problem where they don't see. They know what they're doing. They're taking something, but they don't see. There's no logic in it, and you can't see. You can't link things up. You're doing this right now, and that's all there is. There is no logic behind it. There's no consequence. You don't think about the consequence till it hits you in the face.
And with the consequence, obviously, the cost of it comes into play.
Oh, there's many costs. I mean, financial cost is one of the smaller impacts that it has. The loss of family and, what you do when you're on the drug, because you're not, there is no consequence. You feel like stealing something. You steal, you don't know, you don't see beyond that, yeah? You feel like, killing someone, you just do it because you don't see beyond the consequences till you're faced with it.
It's pretty evil, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I call it the devil in disguise. It comes out like a lamb and then it unveils itself,
So from a financial...
Sorry, the hype out there for the youth is, that it's, this drug that they can get on, have a great party time and lose a few kilos. That it's a facade. It's something that's out to kill, steal and destroy you.
With the financial side, how do you go about affording drugs like that?
Well, for me, I had, at a young age, I've always been in business with my ex-husband, and, at the age of 21, we'd already made our first $1 million. We had property and cars and had a couple of businesses. When the marriage fell apart, I guess I was left with a couple of houses, which I sold off and pawned all my jewellery and, everything I owned to keep up the habit. I was... I got to a stage where, we had no toilet paper in the house, and it was like, what am I going to do now? And, you actually consider doing things, immoral things. Not that I ever did, but, it crosses your mind. You do anything for the next hit, Where can I get it from? Who can I steal it from? And, who can I con into giving me the money,
Yep.
Beg everyone you know.
In hindsight now, did people around you, family, friends, that sort of thing, did they know what was going on or suspect what was going on?
No, they could see that something was going on, but they put it down to, my instability with my marriage and the whole, breakup. And, she's went off the rails a bit, but because you can't really, when people are taking it, you don't, unless you know the person really well, you can't really tell. Yeah, there's a lot of people in our community in high-end jobs even that are taking it and nobody would know. And I've helped a few of those into rehabs, so you don't know until they start years down the track and they start to lose their teeth and their hair is, as I did, my hair started falling out, and then it's apparent. You can see it,
So how did anyone identify? Did you identify or did someone else identify you had a problem, and how did you address it?
Okay, this is a hairy one because I'm going to be frank and honest with you. I actually had a near-death experience, and because I mixed two drugs, 4 days down the track I went to have my next hit, and I went to take a walk in a park, and I had a supernatural encounter with God. And the whole experience was so surreal because I had been 4 days clean, because you're on for 4 days and then your body dies, so you crash and you sleep for 4 days. So I was on my way, back for another hit, and I had an experience that I thought was an alien experience, and that point I thought I'd lost my mind. But I had a very real supernatural encounter with God, and He spoke to me. And a light shone over me, and He spoke to me, and he brought me back home. And when I got back here, it was, I went straight into a church, and which He told me to go to, and basically everybody, surrounded me and helped me through the process of detoxing and of getting my life back on track.
So how long were you taking the drugs for?
For 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And so that particular turning point, that was the end of it? You were able to do that, or was there relapses, and how did you go about that?
For me, there wasn't any relapses because I could clearly hear God, that was guiding me, but there was temptations, absolutely. I remember one time I was sitting at the edge of the water, and I had just happened to run into the biggest drug dealer on the Gold Coast, and he said, I've got a heap of it. Do you want some? I went, I don't do that anymore, and I left the scene, and I drank a bottle of wine near the water's edge, and every part of me wanted to go back and get another hit. But it's working through those craving points one day at a time, and with a reason. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be here? Do you want to be in that place that you were, where you were suicidal, where you were in depression, where your life was falling apart, and you've just got to focus on where it took you, and just stay focused on that, and you'll get through that craving point, and then tomorrow's a new day. Yeah.
So, with it being a new day, how does it get easier as time goes on?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Every year is easier. I've been clean now for 3 years, and for the last year I've been working on delivering the message out there to the community, including in our schools and for youth in our schools and through community forums, a lesson on what ice is, what it looks like, what forms it comes in, how you get caught up in it, how people affect you, like with peer pressure, and how to say no, and what it actually does to you, not only to your mind, to your body physically, but also to your soul, because it destroys you as a person. You end up, if you don't end up in jail or dead, you end up a very broken soul.
Obviously, most of the discussion revolves around parents identifying their children have a problem and how do we identify it, how do we stop it, that sort of thing. But as you mentioned earlier, there's people in very high business positions and that sort of thing, the position you're in, as an example. It's not always, the wild school kid, is it? So
absolutely not.
From that point of view, how do you go about identifying and dealing with and educating the broader community about how it infiltrates the community?
Well, the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign are running forums all over Australia. We're rolling it out on the Gold Coast as we speak to show everybody what signs to look out for, how to help people, when they see those signs, how to address it. We also collate the community's resources with rehabilitation centres, counsellors, family support groups. We establish them in each community, and we have a catchment for people to come to and to get help. Through those lessons, the forums that we give, apart from the school tuition, we do the forums in communities, and they can be well informed of what it is, what to look out for, how to help, symptoms, signs, and how to address it.
Well, Andrea, all I can say is well done on your journey for turning it around from what was clearly a pretty harrowing position, and the obvious consequences of where you'd gone, and then coming out of that and also turning into something positive and trying to help the community, because it is a significant problem, possibly one of the worst problems the community faces in this day and age.
Absolutely, and I think it's only by uniting as a community and working together through this, and awareness, education, and having the resources for the catchment of the problem that we have. It's only in unity that we can get through this successfully, because it's growing at a faster rate than what the rehabs can keep up.
Yeah, very true.
So, I don't wish anybody to go through what I went through. It's the worst thing I've ever been through in my life, and this is why we're out there warning people, and doing what we can, to make sure that people are aware, not to let it happen to them.
Well, congratulations on your courage in coming forward and taking positive action to try and help others. And
Thanks,
I'm sure people listening will certainly take heed, and probably taking something positive out of the story as well, that it doesn't necessarily keep going. It can end.
It can end, Tom. The reality is that 2% of people on ice don't get off it. It's a reoccurring cycle. And the thing is, we have a big issue, and it's how do we stop that? How do we stop people from getting on it? And it's only by showing them, and educating them. So we've got to put a cut in that, a division in that line. It's no good picking up the pieces and keep expanding our resources. But how do we actually stop it from happening? So that's where we're at.
Yeah, no, that's a very good call, and continue the good work. Congratulations, and thanks for your time, for both on sharing your story and also the hard work that you're doing in the community.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure. Take care.
But
Andrea Simmons, who, a former ice addict who has turned a life around and is helping educate not just parents, but the broader community on the impact of ice and what it does. It's a pretty harrowing story. I've certainly seen it firsthand of the impact it has on what you would think are very, very good people, and it really does mess them up badly. So we applaud the fact that Andrea was able to come forward and she's sharing a story, and it's pretty courageous, and doing something about it to try and help others from falling into the same situation. More coming up very shortly in the Sattler Files.